Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Paranormal News. Tonight's article comes from WTAE.com, and this is a follow up to an article that I did before about an airline in New Mexico refusing to deny that there was a UFO encounter with one of their aircraft. And the headline of this article is FBI confirms report of long cylindrical UFO moving really fast over New Mexico. It almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing, said the American Airlines pilot who saw it. An American Airlines flight crew encountered an unidentified flying object over New Mexico on February 21st. American Airlines has confirmed the strange incident, during which a long cylindrical object that almost looked like a cruise missile zipped over the Airbus A320, according to a pilot's transmission obtained by the war zone. American Airlines Flight 2292 was en route from Cincinnati to Phoenix on Sunday afternoon when it came into contact with the mysterious object at approximately 37,000 feet over northeastern New Mexico. Radio interceptor Steve Douglas captured Flight 2292's transmission on the Albuquerque Center frequency of 127.850 MHz or 134.750 MHz. In the transmission, which you can hear below, the American Airlines pilot reported, "Do you have any targets up here? We just had something go right over top of us. I hate to say this, but it looked like a long cylindrical object that almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing, moving really fast right over the top of us." Albuquerque Center didn't respond to the pilot's report because local air traffic interfered. Douglas wrote on his blog, Deep Black Horizon, American Airlines Flight 2292 safely landed in Phoenix shortly after the encounter. American Airlines later confirmed with the war zone the validity of the transmission. Following a debrief with our flight crew and additional information received, we can confirm this radio transmission was from American Airlines Flight 2292 on February 21st. For any additional questions on this, we encourage you to reach out to the FBI. When TMZ reached out to the FBI, spokesperson Frank Fisher said the Bureau is, quote, aware of the reported incident. He continued, "While our policy is to neither confirm nor deny investigations, the FBI works continuously with our federal, state, local, and tribal partners to share intelligence and protect the public." The Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, also released a short statement confirming the encounter. A pilot reported seeing an object over New Mexico shortly after noon, local time on Sunday, February 21st, 2021. FAA air traffic controllers did not see any object in the area on their radar scopes. As the war zone points out, New Mexico is indeed home to White Sands Missile Range, the sprawling stretch of desert where the U.S. military has long tested everything, from nuclear weapons to V-2 rockets. The site is actually the birthplace of America's space program, and today is home not just to a space capsule landing field, but the latest in weapons tech, too, from lasers to electromagnetic railguns. But White Sands is approximately 400 miles away from the site of Sunday encounter west of Clayton, New Mexico, and it's unlikely a weapon like a cruise missile could have gone off the reservation during a test, the war zone's Tyler Rogaway observes. Scott Stearns, chief of public affairs at White Sands, told Fox News, "The missile range wasn't testing anything on Sunday. We have no idea what it could have been or if anything similar has been sighted in that area before." The war zone has dispelled the speculation that the American Airlines pilots may have seen a Learjet 60 that flew over Flight 2292. One major issue with this theory was that this occurred about 9 minutes before the radio call was supposedly made, Rogaway writes. In addition, the Learjet was traveling 5,000 feet above the Airbus and passed in front of it at an angle about 8 miles in distance. This is not something out of the ordinary that the pilot should have reacted to in such a puzzled fashion. More from the war zone. The Learjet in question flew from Salt Lake to Boca Raton without any deviations according to online tracking software. Regardless, the FAA would have known about the Learjet and where it was in time and space in relation to American Airlines Airbus when it made the radio call, especially after 3 days of investigation. So barring a massive oversight in evaluating the available information, we can toss out the Learjet theory based on the FAA's official statement. Rogueway is executing a full FOIA Freedom of Information Act request on this case with the FAA. On behalf of the war zone, he writes, "In the meantime, speculation persists." In a Reddit thread about the incident on R UFOs, user Cannot Double Dutch, who purports to be an airline pilot, provides information that raises additional questions about the very weird encounter. And this is a quote from that Reddit post. "Airline pilot here. Between 28,000 feet and 40,000 feet, FL 280, FL 400. Aircraft are in RVSM, Reduced Vertical Separation Minimum, airspace, which means crossing traffic can be plus or minus 1,000 feet from you. This airspace is highly controlled, and if another aircraft is transmitting on their transponder code, then you can see that aircraft on your TCAS, Traffic Collision System. For ATC controllers and pilots not to be able to see this UFO on any of their systems is very weird. And pilots never want to be the one to say UFO on radio. Even if authorized to fly through military airspace, the ATC controllers would say military airspace is cold. If missiles are being tested, then a NOTAM, Notice to Airmen, would be issued and airspace closed off. So I would say something was up there and passing by airlines. Even if we don't learn more about the bizarre object at the center of this week's encounter, 2021 promises to be an important year for the advancement of UFO disclosure. Last August, the Department of Defense, DoD, officially approved the establishment of an Unidentified Aerial Phenomena UAP Task Force. The task force will investigate the sightings of UAPs, also known as UFOs. The task force is the first official government program affiliated with UFO research since a 2000 unit that analyzed unmanned aerial vehicles and other UAPs lost its funding in 2012. Even though multiple sources confirmed with Popular Mechanics that the unit remained active in secrecy after its shuttering. The DoD formed the UAPTF to improve its understanding of and gain insight into the nature and origins of UAPs. Pentagon spokesperson Sue Goff told Popular Mechanics at the time, "The mission of the task force is to detect, analyze, and catalog UAPs that could potentially pose a threat to U.S. national security." In last June's Intelligence Authorization Act, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence authorized appropriations for fiscal year 2021 for the UAPTF and supported its efforts to reveal any links that UAP have to adversarial foreign governments and the threat they pose to U.S. military assets and installations. In the IAA, the Select Committee on Intelligence said, it remains concerned that there is no unified, comprehensive process within the federal government for collecting and analyzing intelligence on UAP, despite the potential threat, and so it directed the task force to report its finding on UAP, including observed airborne objects that have not been identified within 180 days. When former President Donald Trump signed the Relief and Government Funding Bill into law in December 2020, it contained the IAA for fiscal year 2021, which means the UAPTF must report its findings to Congress by June 25th. What will the task force reveal? And that is the end of this article. So this is a very interesting one. You have the FBI here confirming that the report from the airlines did in fact happen. That it wasn't some made-up thing, that this was an actual thing they're investigating. They didn't go so far as to say it was actually a UFO, but they did confirm that it did exist. We also had in this article the public relations persons from White Sands Missile Testing Range say that they were testing 0 missiles that day. So there's no way that it could possibly be a missile that they saw. We heard from other airline pilots that there is no way it could have been another plane that they saw, because it would have showed up on the radar and they would have been able to identify exactly what it was. So that takes a whole bunch of stuff out. So what we're looking at here is either an alien craft of some sort, a true UFO, or we're looking at some sort of military craft that is classified and was not announced to be there, and they're not admitting that it was there. One of those two things, and in my view, has to be the truth. I probably think that this was a UFO, like an actual alien craft. Because why would the military have a top secret classified craft that is flying by airlines that can be seen like that? That's just silly. That makes no sense. The whole idea of a top secret project is to keep it top secret, not to be parading around airlines where people are going to see you. So I think what we're probably dealing with here is an actual UFO sighting, which is very, very interesting and very exciting. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. The first video I did on it was an article about the American Airlines pilot and American Airlines themselves coming out and saying that, hey, we had this report, but if you want to know what it was, ask the FBI, because we're not going to say it's a UFO. And then the FBI came out in this article and said, yeah, that happened, but we're investigating it. So they didn't say it was a UFO, but they didn't say it wasn't a UFO either. So it's really up to you to decide. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you for all your support, and I will catch you in the next one. Until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.